Don't have a negative mindset. Try to be positive. Positivity likes positivity, and people will flock to you and want to know more about you. However, if you go into an interview with an attitude thinking, oh, it's all about who you know, or you're going to reject me, that like attracts like sometimes. So stay positive. Any opportunities that come your way, think twice before you say no. Don't disregard something out of hand. Think about where that opportunity could lead. 17 years ago, I was a professional actress before I decided I wanted to pursue a teaching career. I had all these skills. I'd been to drama school, and I'd been on television, in dramas, for cartoon television, for adverts, voiceovers, and I was making a good career out of being an actress. And if I can help as many adults as possible to change their careers and change their narrative, then I will be very, very happy and fulfilled. I'm living to serve the people of London.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the new episode of Professionals Unplugged. I'm your host, Utkarsh Shukla, and let me introduce you to my guest, Candice. Candice, thank you so much for joining in.
No problem. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. So, can you please introduce yourself to our audience, like who you are, what work you do, anything you want us to know about you?
Absolutely. So my name is Candice Fanning, and I'm the employability manager for the City of London Adult Education and Skills Service. We're in the heart of London in Guildhall, and it's a pleasure to be sharing some stories about my career and my life with you today.
It's really great to know. As talking about London, like you are working from the heart of the London, right? So, can you just give us an insights about how you come up to this job and the path behind this, like the complete story till now?
Absolutely. My story began 17 years ago. I was a professional actress before I decided I wanted to pursue a teaching career. I had all these skills. I'd been to drama school, and I'd been on television, in dramas, for cartoon television, for adverts, voiceovers, and I was making a good career out of being an actress. I was never out of work. I was very lucky. I was one of the few. However, I was a young mother, very proud to be a young mother. And I decided at 24 that I needed a job where I could care for my children, that was, or at a time, one child, that was conducive with family life, whereas I could do the school run and I could also work as well, because I loved helping people and I love working in acts of service. And so I started to pursue a teaching degree, which is called a PGCE, in the lifelong learning sector. To complete that, I had to have 20 hours of placement somewhere. I went to Mid Kent College in Kent to teach teenagers BTEC theatre studies and AS level theatre studies. And the AS level theatre studies got them into drama school. And I'd previously gone through that process, so I knew a lot about that. I started my placement and I fell in love with teaching. I found that I could still do what I love every day and talk about the theatre and talk about how much I love the theatre, but meanwhile helping others. I had my second child after my placement finished. However, I found myself with a 6-month-old baby trying to gain my qualifications in the lifelong learning sector through Canterbury University. This proved a challenge because my second son didn't sleep. So I faced this challenge head on by only choosing to work 2 days a week and then studying and then being a mum. So there was a balance of my time. After a few years, when my son went to primary school, nursery, first of all, when he was 4, I needed more hours. I wanted to be teaching more. I went to the Adult Education Centre in Kent, and they looked at my CV and I said I wanted to be a drama teacher. And they said, well, we have a lot of drama teachers, Candice, but we see on your CV that you're a Latin scholar at school. Now, I was very lucky to go to a school that taught Latin. Again, I said, I'd like to do a drama scholarship, please. And they said, well, we don't give out those, but are you interested in classics and classical theatre? And I said, oh, yes, I am. I'd love to know more about classical theatre. And so I became a classics scholar at King's School in Rochester, in Kent. And it was through that scholarship. So things happen to you in life that you don't know why they happen, but as you get older, you're smiling because I think this happens in everybody's life.
Correct.
Suddenly the pieces of the puzzle drop into place. So I found myself being offered a job teaching Latin to adults in adult education. I thought, I haven't taught Latin in years. Since I was at school, we went into primary school, we teach primary children Latin. However, this was going to be a whole new learning curve for me. I advertised the courses, and to my amazement, my class was full of 8 previous language teachers who wanted to keep their cognitive skills going in their retirement and wanted to carry on learning something they hadn't ever learned before. So I taught beginners Latin, and beginners Latin became intermediate Latin, and intermediate Latin became A-level Latin. And before I knew it, I was teaching at a very high level Latin. Meanwhile, still doing my PGCE in the lifelong learning sector, and my children are getting older, so I'm able to take on more hours. However, there wasn't enough hours in teaching to sustain myself and my 2 children. So with a heavy heart, I went to my line manager and I said, I'm not going to be able to carry on because I haven't got enough hours. And she said, Candice, we can't lose you. We don't have any other Latin teachers. You're a very rare breed. Right. She said, what can I do? And I said, well, I'm willing to do anything. I'll clean the classrooms. I'll work in the kitchen if I can have more hours. And she said, well, how about I put you on the front desk? This was one of the best things that happened to me, because it was through working on the front desk that I got to know every part of the adult education system. So I got to know how to enroll learners. I got to know which courses were running when, which courses were full, which courses weren't so full. I got to know about ESOL and learning English as a foreign language. I got to know about funding streams. So how can I help people through drawing down funding for them to go on courses? Right. So this was a great education. It was from here that my son then passed we have a grammar school system in Kent still. He passed what's called the 11 plus. I knew there was a good school in Rochester, which is where I grew up. So I moved to Rochester and I approached the adult education service there. And I said, I'm a teacher, I can teach Latin, and I have done for about 8 years. They said, well, that's very interesting, Candice. If you can teach Latin, you could probably be a manager here. And because of my extensive background with knowing about the funding, the adult learning funding streams, I got a job as a manager, learner services manager, Midway Adult Education. From Medway Adult Education, I stayed there 8 years, and my sons grew up. And as they got older, I had a burning desire to work in London.
Mhm.
I've always been a city girl. I love the city. It's so exciting and vibrant. And Rochester is only 45 minutes from London, even less now, depending which train service you get. It's now around 35 minutes. I was very lucky in Westminster Adult Education Service, got in contact with me and said that they were running what's called a digital hub. And would I, because of my 8 years of management, because of my knowledge of the funding streams, because of my knowledge of teaching,
Yeah.
come and work with them. So all the pieces fall into place as your life goes along. And you don't know sometimes why things are happening to you, but you need to trust your gut in that they are the right things.
Correct. And I think you just try to maintain a complete balance between personal life and professional life. What I can figure it out, right? From theaters to teaching, because those are completely parallel world, right? Theater is completely different, teaching is different. So I think it's like a very touching story for me to hear, because leaving one career where you are getting success, like as a theater, you said you are very good, you are getting roles, right, and getting the jobs, then leaving it for your children, and switching the careers and trying to have that balance in your life as well. So it's really inspiring, what I can say.
Well, if you're not going forward, you're going backwards.
Okay.
So try and push forward. Can I be a manager? Can I manage people? Well, it's a new experience.
Mhm.
And before I knew it, I was managing the learner support assistants for Medway Adult Ed. I was managing two funding groups, which was the additional learning support fund and the discretionary learner support fund. Two very different funding streams to enable learners to achieve their dreams. So it was a very fulfilling role, and one that I was very, very happy in. It was only because of my desire to build on my knowledge that I came to London, to Westminster. It was very, very flattering that they wanted me. And it was an opportunity that I couldn't really resist. I was the right age. My children were now the right age. So I came to Westminster. From Westminster, I then did some consultancy work before coming to the City of London, working with and for the learners to get them into long-term sustainable careers in digital and green. So two different boot camps. So that's what's being funded in London at the moment.
That's really great. And can you just tell us more about this, like how the City of London functions, and especially these two programs that you mentioned about the digital one?
Sure. So cybersecurity is huge right now, as I'm sure we're all aware. We run a cybersecurity boot camp. So it's a 12-week program, and on that program, I am working alongside you, looking at your LinkedIn, looking at your CV, looking at your transferable skills. Because, like the adults that I'm working with, I had a career in one sector, and I used all those transferable skills to work in a new area,
Right.
because skills are adaptable.
Correct.
You don't just leave your skills behind. In every job that I've had, I've gathered up everything I've learned from the old job and taken it afresh to the new. New faces, new challenges, but you've still got that core skill set with you.
Correct. And these boot camps are totally digital, like anyone can take part, or it's like you need to be present physically.
So we have two boot camps, three boot camps actually, with retrofit. So the first one I've mentioned is cybersecurity. The second one is data analysis, which is again huge at the moment. then the third one is green and retrofits. So this is a new area for me. However, I built a digital hub for Westminster adult education from virtually nothing, with no contacts in London. So how do you make contacts? Well, you look at what's going on, the events in and around the city. A big shout out to Girls in Tech. They've been phenomenal in some of the events that they've held, where I've met other women who are telling their stories like I'm telling you mine now. And each story is personal to that individual. And if it helps just one other woman say, I can do that too. If she can do it, I can do it. And I believe because I've done it, you can do it too.
Correct. That's really interesting. And talking about your life now, so what were the biggest challenges that you think you have faced till now?
The biggest challenge is there is a certain amount of mum guilt. I do always think I should be at home. I should be cooking a meal at the moment. I should be doing the washing. I should be. We're living in a new age for women where women are filling, compartmentalizing their lives and fulfilling, as you say, a lot of different roles. I don't feel that I've missed out on any time with my children because they're now 17 and 22. I'm showing my age now. And and so they're more independent, but I have been there at all the key moments. But it doesn't take away, it never takes away the am I doing the right thing? And I believe I was because I could give them I'm very, very lucky that I could give them nice holidays, nice experiences, a pet. They haven't always had the best, but they've had their mum and they've had, nice experiences, which I think childhood is all about. And I had my sons now are one is at university in Liverpool, completing his degree in composition, music composition, and is currently writing his dissertation and will receive his degree from Mr. McCartney, Sir Paul McCartney, not Mr. McCartney,
Yeah.
Sir Paul McCartney. So he's very excited about that. And my younger son, who's 17, is currently doing politics, history, and English A level.
That's really nice.
So we're a close little unit.
That's really great. And talking about your complete life, right? So if there is any story that you like to share with us from your journey till now.
A story from my life.
Can be multiple.
Sorry?
Can be multiple stories.
Can be multiple stories. Well, I've told you my trajectory. I guess story that we might have to edit this bit out.
That's fine.
I guess my story would be coming to the City of London and feeling that you belong. And when you find a job where you feel that you belong, it's a lovely feeling. And it's like everything that happened to me all the way along was all leading to this, a place that I feel very fulfilled, very at home, like I've been here all along. Beautiful surroundings. It's one of the most beautiful adult education. They're all beautiful in their own way. They all have their charm. But this is one of the most beautiful adult education centres that I've worked in, because especially today we are drenched in sunlight. We're having a little heat wave. So when you walk along the banks of Guildhall and the Barbican, it's really breathtaking. And I thought, I was thinking about all the things that I wanted to tell you today, and I thought this is a story in itself.
Right, correct. And like you are really much settled right now, right? So if I ask like what's next for you, or what is your dream at this point?
Well, I love where I am right now, and I'm a great believer in enjoying the moment and where you are and being present. Um, and because I've sort of it's all very new at the City of London, but I feel like I found a home. So my dream would be to do the best that I can possibly do for the people of London using the the gift of the funding that's in place at the moment, because funding can come and go, fashions come and go. Today it's digital, cybersecurity, retrofit is the new kid on the block. Um, so I want to assist as many people as possible to change their lives. So we often find ourselves in careers that maybe, oh, if I'd studied harder when I was younger, I would be somewhere different now. Or if I'd done something different, sliding doors.
Right.
And if I can help as many adults as possible to change their careers and change their narrative, then I would be very, very happy and fulfilled. I'm living to serve the people of London, um, and that's my dream.
That's really nice. And
But
one question,
people remember that's my legacy. That's my
yeah,
legacy to
right.
London.
So one question that is coming up to me is like you said you want to help the people of London, right? And while dealing with different people, everyone is different, right, in their own point of view. So how do you try to convey the message of helping people with different people, because everyone is different and sometimes it's not easy to communicate yourself with other person, right? So what's the secret here?
The secret is with when you're working with employers, go to as many events as possible, make yourself seen and make yourself heard. If you've got something important to say, then say it and say it with conviction, and people will listen. When I speak to the learners, sometimes the learners can be a little bit negative in that they faced rejection. As I did as an actress, I had a lot of rejection. You must be able to take it, otherwise you shouldn't become an actress. You told you're too small, or you're too plain, or you're too this or that or the other. You're too blonde. You're told you're too a lot of different things, and you've got to roll with those punches. However, I understand that that is difficult to do. I walked into a classroom this morning with a can-do attitude. You can do this. And one learner said the problem with the digital market is about who you know. Now, it's about nepotism. And also, you have to go to 3 or 4 interviews. And I said, well, firstly, that is the job market at the moment. I had to come to many interviews for the job that I have at the moment. That's just the way the job market is. It's very competitive, yes. And my second point was it is about who you know to a certain extent. I did agree with her. However, that's where I step in. That's why I'm running all over London, meeting employers, shouting about what we do,
Right.
because otherwise people won't know.
Correct.
So if I can bring a group of learners to a Women in Tech event, or an event at the South Bank, or MasterCard, or Sainsbury's, I will bring a group of learners along, and I'll say, look, this could be you. And how do I do that? I use Eventbrite, I use LinkedIn, I use word of mouth. And these are all things that you could be doing for yourself if you are looking to change careers. I just give a helping hand because of my experience.
It's really great. And if I ask like one advice or any advice that you like to give to the people watching this episode, what it will be?
Don't have a negative mindset. Try to be positive. Positivity likes positivity, and people will flock to you and want to know, more about you. However, if you go into an interview with an attitude thinking, oh, it's all about who you know, or you're going to reject me, that like attracts like sometimes. So stay positive. Any opportunities that come your way, think twice before you say no. Don't disregard something out of hand. Think about where that opportunity could lead. Because if I'd had said, no, I won't work on the front desk, that's not for me, I'm a teacher,
Right.
I wouldn't have been led into management.
Correct.
Yeah. Luck is opportunity and readiness. Be ready. Be ready and embrace it when it comes. Don't be frightened of it. Opportunity.
I think that's the best part to end this podcast. So thank you so much, Candice, for your knowledge. And it's really an inspiring session for me as well to know about your journey and how positive you are while telling us your story. So keep that smile and keep shining. Thank you so much.
Lovely to meet you and lovely to speak to everybody.
Thank you.